What's up to the multiverse and its listeners? This is the Infinite Universe Podcast, episode 14. We are your host, as always. I'm your friendly neighborhood DJ, J Days. Alongside me, my co-host, he's half man, half android user, and also acts strangely after accidentally swallowing pieces of gum. He is the great and powerful Ben Metless.
Hey, what's up? Hate on my android. Thanks, man.
Coming up in today's show, it's finally here, the start of Marvel's Phase 4 and all the new Disney Plus shows, including WandaVision. We also talk the latest news from DC, Sony, and Marvel. We also have a great giveaway going on here on the YouTube channel. Being that we're getting into Phase 4 of the MCU and we're getting all these shows like Secret Invasion and the inevitable inclusion of the Fantastic Four somewhere down the pipeline, I thought it would be really fun to do a Pop Funko giveaway of what I would say is one of the coolest looking villains in Marvel, Super Skrull. All you have to do is subscribe to our channel, like this video, and leave a comment, and the winners will be chosen at random. All you have to do is make sure to enter today. And speaking of our YouTube channel, we have introduced a new segment of videos entitled Infinite Multiverse. Our first video is up now. Ben, why don't you tell us what to expect with this new content?
Well, on my other channel, BH Pumpkin Claw, I do a lot of fan theories and creative license with some of my favorite films. In this one, I created a short fan fiction involving the possibility of Obi-Wan turning to the dark side.
Dope. That sounds really cool. Again, this is posted right now on our YouTube channel, so go check that out. Remember, these are YouTube exclusives only, and we'll have more of these in the coming weeks, as well as other fun videos soon. Okay, with that said, let's bust down the doors of episode 14 and talk the latest news and updates. Alright, let's start with some DC news. Jumping from our last podcast, apparently, Ben, the consensus is a lot of people didn't like Wonder Woman.
I read that. I also saw that Pedro Pascal has gotten to a little bit of a Twitter beef for kind of bickering with Patty Jenkins.
Oh, really? Why?
Because Patty Jenkins says that it was studio interference that changed the outcome of the movie. And, I heard that he stated it wasn't studio interference. It was just maybe a bad story, or I could be wrong. This could be also just something he said once again taken out of context. But I did hear that people who are in the film are pushing back against her, saying it wasn't studio interference.
I mean, listen, it wasn't a masterpiece, but I don't know why everyone is complaining like this is the worst thing that DC's ever given us. Remember, they're the same people that brought us Suicide Squad and Batman versus Superman and Justice League. This to me was more fun than those that I mentioned. There's elements of each of them that I like, but none of them are home runs. I just don't believe that this is the complete turd that everyone's saying it is. But apparently a lot of people dislike this movie.
Yeah, I've been hearing that too. I don't think it deserves that much hate. I mean, it doesn't deserve praise. I don't expect it to be up for an Oscar or get a great Rotten Tomato score, but
yeah, it got downgraded, unfortunately.
I saw that too. Yeah.
Anyway, but something I did check out on HBOMax as well was, we talked about in the last episode, Batman, A Death in the Family, right?
Yeah.
I actually got to check this out. I'm glad that you brought me the DVD today to watch, because the version that I saw, you don't get the interactive stuff. It's only one storyline, but it was really cool. And the things that I did like about it was kind of how it was narrated from Batman's point of view and kind of like in hindsight, some of it. But I'm really interested to deep dive in the DVD and kind of see these different choose your own adventures that you mentioned last time.
So on the HBO Max version, you don't get to choose anything at all?
No, it was just you watch a movie.
Okay, because I know on the video on demand, you don't get as many options as you do on the DVD. That was what they said was like the benefit of buying the actual physical copy. Now, speaking of HBO Max, I noticed that while I was going through it, that they've included every single DC animated movie, which
Yeah.
is, I was scrolling through it the other night and I almost stayed up till 4 a.m. going, ooh, I want to watch that. Ooh, I want to watch that. Like we're talking about Flashpoint Paradox.
Yep.
Like
I started watching the Batman animated over. I'm like 5 episodes in.
That's actually a box set buy for me.
Yeah,
I've actually
it's really
considered
good.
that. If I could justify at home buying $150 worth of Batman cartoons, I would definitely own it right now.
All right, well, but that's old news. Let's talk some new news. And one thing that we heard on the Batman front is that we're going to have not only a young Batman, but an old Batman. So does this mean that Michael Keaton is going to be in this new Batman, or is he going to have his own movie where it's this Batman Beyond type figure?
I would like the Batman Beyond type storyline. I think that's well
Fans have been asking for it.
Great. Fans have been asking for it. Get Joseph Gordon-Levitt to play actual, like, the newer Batman. If you want to get someone younger,
Nightwing?
Make him Nightwing and then get like a different type of Batman in. Get
That'd
that
be
kid
cool.
who is in Dune. He could play a young version of Batman.
Or what about just the Robert Pattinson that we got here?
You could put him in, but I think they want to make that its own universe because remember they're giving it a television show too.
Yeah,
So-
but then remember they're also doing Flash Paradox apparently,
Yeah,
right?
that's-
So maybe they're gonna. Are they just jumping into the multiverse?
I hope
Multiverse
this
as well?
isn't them just throwing ideas to the wind, trying to see what gains traction, and we don't get any of it. Because we've seen it before, not necessarily with Warner Brothers, but other studios where they just go, we're going to make all these movies. Let's see which one gets, attention, and then nothing happens.
Well, some other cool DC updates have been some news to the Snyder Cut. Now, not only is it going to be 80% never seen footage, that's awesome. Apparently, the whole time in this universe, we've had Martian Manhunter. He was there the whole time, but he's now officially been confirmed. Harry Lennox, he was in the Superman movie and
Really?
Superman v Batman as one of the generals. He's filmed new scenes for the 4-part Snyder Cut of Justice League that's coming out. Was that later this year?
I think it's in November.
So yeah, we've had a Martian Manhunter the whole time under our noses, and remember, he can shapeshift.
Well, yeah.
So this is pretty cool news. I mean, it's kind of fun. It was kind of hinted a while ago that he might have been in this world. I think they wanted to add him into the Justice League movie, and then when Snyder dropped out and all the writing changes and everything, they cut him out, as well as Green Lantern. Apparently, I wonder if we're getting that as well in
Lantern Corps.
this new Snyder Cut.
I think that would be interesting if they introduce all that, but let's also remember that this is it. That after Snyder Cut, that whole DC world is coming to an end because the guy who plays
They say that.
Cyborg, but the guy who plays Cyborg, he expressed straight out that he has no interest in reprising that role again.
Let me ask you this: is anyone going to miss the actor that played Cyborg? He wasn't a very memorable character.
But who knows?
Even
he may
Flash.
be in,
I mean, if they changed the Flash character,
well, they have to change him because of all the recent controversy with him.
yeah.
so.
I mean, they can change any of these actors and kind of continue the storyline, and they might just keep Gal Gadot the whole way through, and then change a bunch of these guys around her. I bet
they could do that. Yeah.
All right, moving on. Let's talk Sony news. All right, first up, unfortunately, once again, Sony's Morbius has officially been delayed for the second time, being pushed back from March 19th to October 8th. So, good and bad about this. The bad is, obviously, I kind of wanted to see this movie sooner than later. The good, though, is it kind of sets up that cool October Halloween vibe. And that's kind of fun, but now we have to wait a little bit later for that. But really why I mention this is what that means, though, unfortunately, I think it most likely means that other films are going to be pushed back because all of these films have to be put out in a certain order due to the Sony Marvel Disney deal, I believe, meaning Morbius has to come out first, then Venom 2, then Spider-Man 3, because I think they each kind of lead into this Sonyverse that they're building up. I could be totally wrong about that, but just reading everything online, kind of seems like that's kind of the angle. So that means both Venom and Spider-Man are also going to be pushed back. So who knows when we're going to see any of this stuff, especially with the pandemic still going on.
I think they're basing all this on the vaccine rollout. I'm sure that they saw that the vaccine rollout didn't go out as smoothly as they expected. And they were like, April, like, let's look at October and more people will be vaccinated. Maybe things will open.
And realistically, although Wonder Woman had some success in streaming, this is obviously because they want to wait for theaters to open back up because they want to make as much money as possible, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That kind of sucks, though, because I was kind of looking forward to... We had this awesome timeline of every month there was like one or two things coming out from like either Marvel, Sony, DC, or Star Wars for the whole year. And now I just hope this isn't a trend where everything just keeps getting pushed back.
It gets domino effect back.
Yeah, production or timeline changes.
I agree. I hope it's not like a sign of that we're going to have to go another 5 to 6 months with nothing.
Because remember the last show, I think we're hyping up how all the stuff is rolling out back to back to back.
Mm-hmm.
So we're never going to get bored this year. Now all of a sudden you're starting to see these pieces move and the chips are lying kind of in a different path now. But, again, we still got some cool content to look forward to. And speaking of that, apparently this isn't 100% confirmed, but we might be getting a Venom trailer during the halftime Super Bowl show.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, so February 7th, they might be releasing a trailer. It's not officially confirmed. I could see that, though. They want a big moment for it. Sony's got the money. And it would just probably be a teaser. Probably wouldn't be much. Probably be a quick little 30-second
20
thing.
seconds.
If they flash Carnage on the screen, though, that's all that it would take for like fans to go crazy.
Or at least even a red symbiote.
Yeah. Oh, that's all they would have to show is a little red splooge on the ground.
Splooge on the ground. Yeah, moving, or even like something dangling from the ceiling, and all of a sudden.
Some other cool news about that, though. It's going to be rated R. So
nice. Okay.
I think we're going to see.
Why didn't they? If they were going to make this one rated R, why not make the first rated R?
Yeah, they're probably, testing the waters, dipping their feet in. But now that they got Carnage, a known serial killer.
You have to, yeah. That makes me actually more excited to see Venom 2. And I know that you originally liked Venom and I didn't really care for it, but I'd pay to see that in the theater. I paid to see that in the theater before I'd pay to see Morbius in the theater. Also in the Sony front, there are rumors that the Uncharted movie is in production.
I like that game.
Yes. Well, Naughty Dog is very well known to make some blockbuster hits. I heard that Uncharted 2 is not as great as Uncharted 1 or Uncharted 3, but, the series is very, very popular. I'm a big fan of their Last of Us series, which is actually coming to... HBOMax, right? Under Sony, which is why Sony is in talks to be developing 3 movies and 7 television shows based on their video games alone.
With that, I mean, that's kind of fun because the storylines in those games were great. So if they get some of that creative control into the movie direction, maybe that's what they need, I'm interested to see Morbius. I'm not expecting much from it. I'm hoping for Jared Leto's sake, it's his revival in a superhero film role. But if not, he always has his band to fall back on.
Are you hating on 30 Seconds to Mars?
No, I actually kind of like some of them.
Really? Yeah. I'm a big 30 Seconds to Mars fan. Don't be hating on them.
I like some of them. All right, let's move on. All right, we've had a lot of really fun and cool Marvel news that have been dropping left and right throughout the past couple weeks. One of the things I'm most excited for, Kevin Feige confirms Deadpool 3 is now a part of the MCU and will be rated R. That's great news, right?
Nice. Yeah.
So it's going to keep some of its, humor, it's cursing, it's violence and blood and all the fun things we like about Deadpool, and it's going to be a part of the MCU as well.
Well, talking about the MCU, I did read a rumor that the 7th Infinity Stone will be revealed.
I heard about that.
His Stone?
His movie is going to be about him trying to find another stone, right?
Yeah, well, I think
it's going on in the background of
Infinity War and Endgame, because I heard that the Ego Stone has the power of all the other 6 Infinity Stones. and that like it's actually the home to this creature called Nemesis.
Was this in the comics?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. This thing called Nemesis that.
And is this a Deadpool storyline in the comics?
I don't know if it's a Deadpool storyline.
But this is what they're probably used to introduce him into it?
Maybe they'll well, I think Nemesis is a female. And maybe they'll use the Death storyline to go with Deadpool. Because remember, in the comic books, Death is in love with Deadpool. That's why Deadpool can never die.
They even hinted at one point that his love interest in
she was Death.
In the movie might have been Death, or it'd be, some sort of interpretation of it. They never really...
Do you think he got cancer?
They never really went anywhere with that exactly, but if you remember when he kept trying to like kill himself and he went in that kind of like soul realm? Yeah, and he was talking to her, but he couldn't get through to the other side. She was kind of on this, whatever the crossing over side is, so that they kind of did hint to Death a little bit, actually. Huh?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Wow, connecting the pieces, ladies and gentlemen. All right, some other cool, exciting news. We got a Moon Knight confirmed, right? Oscar Isaac's coming.
Yes.
I mean, sure. Let's see what they do with it. I mean, so far, from what I've seen, they've been taking characters I really didn't care that much about and putting them in some really compelling storylines. I don't know too much about the character. I do know he is a fan favorite of many. But I do love Oscar Isaac in
Ethan Hawke
in roles other than Apocalypse.
Well, Oscar Isaacs is a good actor. I liked him. I have to admit, I liked his character in the Star Wars films. He's done some serious roles that I really liked him in. He's going to be in Dune. Also, we have another strong actor playing his opposite. Apparently, Ethan Hawke has been cast as the villain.
I didn't know that. I freaking love Ethan Hawke. Awesome.
So that would be very interesting to watch.
Cool.
Those two go against each other.
Now that just got me excited. That's pretty cool. All right, so we got Moon Knight to look forward to. Some other kind of cool news. Do you hear about this? Michael B. Jordan returning for Black Panther 2.
You called it. Wow. You totally called it. You called it 2 episodes ago. Go back and watch episode 12, ladies and gentlemen. Jay Days has called it that Michael B. Jordan will be returning.
Again, we never really officially saw him die. We assumed he died. They brought Black Panther back in Black Panther. Why can't they bring Killmonger back? And with the absence of Chadwick Boseman, you need a strong lead to fill those shoes. And I think a lot of people were attached to the Killmonger character.
Well, he was sympathetic.
Yeah, because it was a villain that people were sympathetic to. You could understand his struggles, where he came from, and he kind of had some claim to his beefs, right? Mm-hmm. And he's just a freaking fantastic actor at that. So cool. I mean, we also had the rumors of maybe Shuri being, taking the reins as the Black Panther. I'm really curious to see where they're going to bring this. And then we also have the rumors of the villain being Nomar. So all of that is kind of, setting up to be really, really dope to me. Mm-hmm. You wanted to mention this. There's rumors of Chris Evans returning, right?
Yeah, apparently Chris Evans has re-signed as Captain America. The rumor is that he's going to be playing a Hydra Captain America. The Captain America he kind of pretended to be in Endgame.
Yeah.
There was actually a storyline where Hydra clones Steve Rogers, and it's like Nazi Captain America, I guess.
All right. Now, with that said, as soon as that was announced or rumored around the interwebs, he tweets out news to me.
Well, maybe he's... How many times has this happened?
And I was going to say, this could just be, he's trying to divert our attention.
Yes, exactly.
That would be fun. I keep thinking, like, how long will Robert Downey and Chris Evans stay away from these roles? Like, first off, they're such iconic characters. So many people love them. They nailed it at the role. I know they want to do other, jobs and other films, but I don't know, like, you could see them wanting to come back at some point, right?
Well,
For some role,
I don't
even
think it's
small.
necessarily them not wanting to play the role again, because I mean, if you're being paid $25 to $30 million over and over again to play the same character, I think the concept is that these movie studios need to start building other characters. You can't be basing all of this genre on the backs of only two characters.
But also, don't you think these actors don't want to just be typecast and get superhero roles all the time?
I'm sorry, if you pay me $30 million a movie plus residuals, what are they making? 8% of $1 billion after it gets released in the theaters? I apologize, but I will be typecast. I'll be completely sacrifice myself for the typecasting. Please contact me on my email address through the podcast. I'm available. Just to let you guys know.
And then one correction from a couple shows ago. I said the Nick Fury show was Agents of S.W.O.R.D., and then it was announced literally hours after we posted the podcast that the name of it was The Secret Invasion, but that is going to be the Samuel L. Jackson, Nick Fury-led series, obviously having to do with the Skrulls. We know Nick Fury's last scene on the sword ship, and once again, that's also why we have this nice, fun Pop Funko giveaway that we're doing for the Super Skrull, because basically I messed up and now you guys get a prize.
Congratulations. I would like to bring up a personal note on Marvel news. Did you ever have that comic book that you kept in like your back pocket and you read it over and over again and it was just your favorite?
No, because I was a nerd and kept them all in the wrappers and the cardboard so that they wouldn't get bent.
Okay, I mean, I had most of mine in wrappers and cardboards as I got older, but as a kid, I did have one comic book that I always read over and over again, and it was. You guys can make fun of me because I know the internet's already making fun of. It's called DarkHawk, and he's
Did
actually.
you say DarkHawk?
No, not DarkHawk. DarkHawk.
Okay, you
DarkHawk.
gotta enunciate those words, man.
Yeah, he's like Iron Man with wings.
Okay, yeah, you gotta clarify because there are children listening.
Oh, there are? Where are your parents? In April, they're having a 30th anniversary to celebrate his creation. So they're reissuing his comic.
All right, I remember what he looks like. He's basically like a RoboCop Falcon, right?
Yes. Yeah, perfect.
Right? He
yes.
is Falcon, but more
like
RoboCop-y, a full like metal
Purple.
costume, I think, right?
Purple's got like
what's
these
his
claws.
abilities? He's like a
He
Batman.
has the costume. Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a Batman.
I think I'll pass. Sorry.
I'm
I'm one
excited.
of those guys making fun of you on the internet.
It's fine.
Now let's get into the reason why you tuned into this podcast. We have the brand new show from Marvel. The rollout of Phase 4, WandaVision, finally released on Disney Plus this week. And let's just start with overall impressions, Ben, because there was a lot to unpack with this show. But let's just say my first impression was I actually loved it. I found it completely charming. I found it funny. I found it very intriguing. And I feel like they're setting us up for something really just like cold. Like, I don't think this is going to end in a nice, fun way for some reason. But overall, what did you think of it?
I just have one word to say, and I don't mean this as a negative. It's different.
Oh, yeah.
And I think as different, it's a good thing. Like, they broke the rules with this format, and it completely hit its home run.
Yeah, this is unlike anything Marvel's ever given to us thus far in any platform. It's so outside the box, but works so freaking well.
I don't think anyone's really kind of explored with this, and it was outside the box. I really loved the first 2 episodes, which I found interesting. We could talk about this later, that they decided to release 2 episodes, not 1. Maybe to kind of give people an idea of what it's about.
Yeah, to give a little, get your feet wet a little bit.
Yes.
Because you want to know where the ride's going. And if you watch one episode, you're kind of left really scratching your head. Although I found myself scratching my head even more after 2. But at least I kind of there's a feel for where this car ride's going.
Yes.
Right?
Well, you understand the direction and how it's structured. Now, I loved the sitcom kind of background. It was hilarious. They had the laugh tracks. They had the and the soundtracks from the old school sitcoms.
That was great. And it really had these feels of these shows that are kind of way before our time. But, you know, you grow up seeing the reruns on like Nick at Night, like I Dream of Jeannie, I Love Lucy, Bewitched.
The first episode is Dick Van Dyke Show. And actually, the story for the first episode is very similar to the first episode of the actual Dick Van Dyke Show, where the character invites his boss over for dinner, and it doesn't go as it was expected, which shows the Kevin Feige's love for old sitcoms and the source material.
And I was going to say, I kind of really love that old-timey feeling of this, like, retro style feel of how TV shows were made and recorded, and just the scripts of them. Although it was all this throwback stuff, it was still like this, like, there's moments where it's still so new and original. And I'm like, yo, they're really, really playing with my mind and emotions in this show. And I'm totally on board for the rest of this ride.
No, I am too. It makes me excited because I guess episode 1 was 50s, episode 2 was 60s. So I would say the next episode would be like, what, Happy Days? Or maybe something like that?
Yeah. I mean, it seems like they're rolling out
the Brady Bunch would be the next one.
Different decades.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you kind of had this theory that each of these decades is eventually going to lead up to...
So we start in the 50s, and if you think about it, there's 8 shows stated. So
8 episodes?
50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. 2000s, 2010, 2020, and then the 8th episode would not involve the actual. It would break
be the
us.
big reveal.
It would break us out
of false reality.
Exactly. Show us
watching.
What's actually happening behind the scenes.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the cast, because everyone on it is amazing and just knocking it out the park. They're funny, again, charming.
Oh my God, it's hilarious.
So engaging. And I just will say that the lead actors, their chemistry together is great.
Yeah, Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany, I mean, in their own right, they're good actors. Paul Bettany, I've liked from a lot of his other stuff, coming from, A Knight's Tale? Not only these movies, but then him and Elizabeth Olsen, I don't know, I guess it was kind of came for a curveball for us in Infinity War, right?
Oh, their love interest?
Their love interest, and like we didn't really get it, but then in this, like it kind of...
Yeah, so in the comics, if you read the comics, you did know that they are love interests.
Okay.
But yes, you're right, they kind of... The romance kind of blossomed out of almost seemingly nowhere. They kind of had the connection of the Mind Stone, basically. And then, by the time you get into Infinity War, they're fully in love. But yeah, no, their chemistry together in each of these episodes, I just find just so much fun to watch them. Vision just kind of being this bumbling idiot almost at times, trying to fit in. You know?
Well, I loved the fact that some of the slapstick jokes, like at one point, what does Vision say? We'll go after those weird neighbors everyone's talking about who can move through walls and have spells. And Wanda looks at him and goes, "Honey, we are those weird neighbors. That's us." She crashes the plate against his head, like accidentally.
Yeah, there was a bunch of funny moments in episode 1. Just starting from that like beginning scene where he tries to walk through, he walks through the door and she falls because she can't face through it. So it's set up right from the very first scene. I'm laughing. I don't know if you saw this part, Ben, but Disney actually, before they released the episodes of WandaVision, they released some new MCU content, so to speak, that. The Disney Legends. And it was just kind of for anyone who's out of place and don't know where these two characters are in the storyline. It kind of gives their quick little backstory in a 5 to 8 minute little short video. Pretty cool, and kind of, got me pumped the night before into watching this. But then I will say, the moment I turned this on, Ben, being that this was the first piece of MCU content we've got since Spider-Man Far From Home, I think, when I heard that intro music for the first time, dude, it fucking pumped me up again. I was like,
I got goosebumps too.
Yeah, started getting that old feel of just like the excitement. And then, like, from there, the episode just was so funny. Later, when we see Vision at work, Ben, and he's trying to figure out what his job is, and he's asking questions, and then if you pick it up, he asks him again later to his boss. But in the background, like, I don't know if you have this problem now when you watch anything Marvel related.
I'm trying to find Easter eggs.
I'm trying to find Easter eggs the whole freaking time. And in the background of his job, you see it says, like, computer services. And then I'm trying to understand, like, what all these little clues are that they're leaving for us. You know what I mean?
Basically, you remember what he says, what do we do? And his coworker says, we generate forms.
Yeah.
Okay, so Mr. Hart is his boss's name. In Marvel, there's a character named Agent Hart, who's a high-ranking employee of the weapons manufacturer Genform. So maybe that's kind of like, I think that might be an Easter egg where Mr. Hart like works for Genform.
Well, 100% the Mr. Hart character or this illusion of it is something else in this outside reality.
Of course.
I think a lot of these characters that we're seeing in this are actually outside forces of this reality. And again, so the backstory of this, we kind of didn't touch on this. Maybe we did a little. This is all just a fantasy. This is all a reality that she created.
We don't know that
in her head
because
in the comic books that's
in the comic books there's a story where she creates her own reality. We don't know if this is a reality that she created in reaction to Vision death and everything that happened, or is this being done to her? Because remember, like, I found it interesting throughout the whole episode. They don't know, like, the whole episode starts with they don't remember what's on the calendar, right?
Yeah, the heart.
What does heart mean? Throughout the whole episode, they're kind of they have amnesia. Because remember at the dinner with the boss says, where are you from? Where'd you meet? Like, all this information. Someone asks her why, her neighbor asks her why she doesn't have a wedding ring. These are things she kind of like looks, and that's what makes Elizabeth Olsen such a great actress, because she plays the sitcom mom, like happy-go-lucky, but then kind of reverts back to the Wanda character randomly.
Yeah.
Where she's like, when the woman asks her, where's your ring? She kind of looks down like, yeah, why don't I have a ring?
And I want to touch back on some of that in a moment. But just to jump back to the duality of how good Elizabeth Olsen is at the role.
Yeah.
There's these serious tones, but then these really comical ones, like when she's wearing the lingerie when the boss walks in,
and then she brings up,
she surprises him, a surprise, or she goes, it's a
Sokovia hello method. Yeah.
She bounces from these moments almost like flawlessly.
Yeah.
And I picked up on just kind of like those moments where it's very fun and warm, and then all of a sudden, quick turns. But then we get to this moment where there's this random commercial inserted. Now, obviously, we know that these are all leading to things. The Toastmate 2000 is the first commercial we get, and it's Stark Industries. I think all these commercials are big hints. Mm-hmm. The first one being Stark Industries. Well,
I think it's memories that are kind of interfering with what's going on.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Because then we'll go into the second episode's commercial, which actually to me was like the aha moment.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's when I again, that excitement of
I like how
they're
went there. Yeah, exactly.
But all right, so back to the dinner party real quick, because that's where we pick up, and you mentioned how you start to see these moments where Wanda looks confused, and she has this like distant stare, and these are all these moments where you could tell that like the reality that we're seeing is not
playing out,
because those moments of confusion are also to me, honestly, feel really, really sad. Because, again, if you know the comics, you know that most likely most of this is going on in her head. We don't know if it's her in control of someone else doing this, but these are manifestations of a life she wishes she had. But deep down, there's some incredible sadness wrapped around this, and you see it peeking through at certain moments throughout these episodes in these distant stares that she keeps having.
If you notice, a lot of the distant stares are aimed at Vision, Because there have been more than a couple of moments where, like, it's like an awkward pause where she's staring at Vision. Like, and that's why I think Elizabeth Olsen's acting is fabulous, because it looks like she's kind of giving him a look like, are you really here? Like, she kind of can't believe she's here. And then when she questions it, she snaps back into the reality going, of course you're here. I'm the happy-go-lucky housewife, and you're my husband who goes to work.
All right. To me, what it seems like is like she's drawing herself back into this disillusion, you know, because the reality of knowing he's not really there is hurting her so much.
Exactly.
But now I want to, something else that keeps happening throughout these episodes is you keep hearing these sounds, and these sounds sound like they're coming from an outside source, not in the same environment that the scene is set in. In fact, to me, it almost sounds like she's in a tank, because the banging kind of sounds like this hollow sound. And then that'll lead us into how the episode ends is, you know, you see this, like, what is it? Like a heart appears, and it's like this, I Love Lucy outro kind of moment. And then you see it's a TV monitor, and then it zooms out and you see what I think is a woman's hand, or else the dude has a really good manicure.
I thought it was a woman's hand too.
Because it was a very feminine looking hand, but then it zooms out and then it's a bunch of TV monitors, and you see clearly, like, this isn't reality.
Did you notice the symbol that was next to her hand?
So there was the symbol, and let's not talk about that yet. Let's talk about it because it comes up again in the next episode. But there is a symbol there that obviously is a big clue to something, and I want to just hold that thought because that first episode, though, I mean, that ending, so awesome.
Yo, the ending was great. But did you notice that Vision at the end of episode 1 had a remote control, and he's the one that ended the channel?
Yes.
So that, to me, was like kind of, what is that signifying? Are they in control of this situation? Is Vision in control? Is she in control? Because there was something that happened in episode 2 that made me think, well, why isn't she in control of the situation? We don't know what's happening to her, and that's what I like about this. You can draw on so many different little hidden secrets placed through it. Now, can I make a comment about the neighbor?
Oh, first off, I freaking love Catherine Hahn.
Agnes?
Agnes, first off, as an actress, Catherine Hahn kills it in everything she's in. Step Brothers, she has
She plays the great neighbor who wants so hard to be like
tries so hard,
and is there for her. Like,
and she also is just like that. She's always like extra, but it's never forced. It's very like smooth with the delivery. It's funny though. She's really funny.
She's the neighbor that keeps getting Wanda into trouble.
Yeah. And with that, we can start talking about episode 2, because really what this episode is about is them trying to fit into the neighborhood. You know, we get to meet a few more of the townspeople as well. And
that's more like the Bewitched episode.
Yeah, and the town is doing a fundraiser, so Wanda and Vision come up with their act, which is a magic show. And it's pretty funny, you know, Vision goes by the name The Illusion for the magic act. And, Wanda is, what was it, the Magnificent maybe, or something like that. I forgot what it was, but she also had a stage name, and it was kind of funny. It was kind of cute. And,
I liked how, so in the previous scene, Vision goes to a town meeting of the security, like, Neighborhood Watch.
Yeah.
And he's trying to fit in because he's not a guy, and they give him gum, and like in a cartoon it showed the gum is messing up his sockets.
That was like an old like Fred Flintstone's like scenario. Like if a character got gum stuck in them, you showed gears, and like the gum would get stuck up.
And it was funny, it made him act drunk.
Yeah.
And so at the I love the play on at the actual magic show. Vision kept revealing their powers, and Wanda kept changing it to like reveal that it was just an illusion. It's actually just an illusion, which is funny. It was really like the opposite of a magic show.
And again, just their chemistry during that. The two actors, it's so fun to watch them because he's acting like this dumb, drunk, bumbling idiot that you could see like he's not really fully functional. To me it sounded like he was a little bit more malfunctioning than drunk, but it was very drunk-esque, where he's stumbling, slurring words.
He doesn't know what's going on.
And then also he doesn't give any F's either because he's like, oh, I'm doing it anyway.
He flies, and then Wanda makes it appear like he's on a hook.
And then what was funny though is like every time he tried to do a trick and Wanda would like show the illusion part of it, he would try to like one up it. He goes, you want to see a feat of strength? And then he's like, flourish. He's like, people applaud for me. It was really funny. I like that.
I did want to bring up that so Wanda was trying to get the attention of one of the head women in the neighborhood group. Like, she wanted to be a part of this committee. Now, just like in the last episode when Mr. Hart starts choking, there's a serious moment between her. They break like almost the veneer of the television show.
Break the scene almost with these moments. And these moments, if you now that you say it, I just realized there are moments of pain, suffering.
Someone's hurt.
The boss is choking. The woman has a deep gash and is bleeding. Now I'm trying to remember if in the scene where it was, because when Vision pulls the thing out of his throat, it's not in black and white. It's like a color. It was brown, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. I think it was colorized.
And then her blood was
colorized again.
Colored as well.
And red.
And there was another colorized part with the helicopter when she finds a helicopter.
Boom. Now that's where I want to pick up.
Which has the same
Ready?
symbol of
Hang on. Slow down, Ben. And Wanda's in the house again, right? And then we hear that sound again that I mentioned.
From the beginning of the episode.
And again, it's just like this big boom, but it doesn't quite sound like it's happening like... There, because you hear something hit, but it doesn't sound like it hit in her like lawn. It kind of sounds to me. It sounds like
it's happening farther away than close.
Anyway, so she goes to investigate, and then she finds this item in the bush, and it's colorized. And at first, to me, I noticed, holy shit, this looks like Iron Man colors.
It does look like Iron Man colors.
It's that yellow, gold, and then the red. And then I saw the logo on it, and then I noticed that same logo was the logo that was on the TV monitor at the end of episode 1. Now, I'm not really familiar with what that logo is, but I do notice that there is a sword on there. Now, before you go into what you're going to say, there's also something else on that plane that does have huge significance. So not only was there that weird sword logo or whatever it was, you'll correct me in a minute, but there was a number.
Really?
And the number was 57. Now that number has a lot of significance in the comic books.
I don't know that.
So with my investigating, and it wasn't that hard, I used Google, very simple. There are 2 issues that involve Wanda, specifically Scarlet Witch, in the Avengers comics that have huge significance. Avengers issue 57 is entitled Behold the Vision, the first appearance of Vision in the comics in 1963. Cool. That could be a cool little Easter egg. Maybe it has some significance of that. Maybe, that's where it ends. But now check this out. In 1990, the comic book Avengers West Coast also had an issue called Family Reunion. And on the cover of that was none other than Scarlet Witch, her brother Quicksilver, and her father Magneto. And not only that, in the background of that comic, on the cover, you see them those 3 in the front, but in the background you see a bunch of Avengers seemingly dead or defeated laying on the background.
Well, wasn't Family Reunion a part of the House of M storyline?
It's where she eventually, I believe, goes to join Magneto.
Yeah.
And his, escapades of violence. But now with that said, there are huge rumors of big characters that are entering this TV series. I don't know if it'll be this season or if they're going to make another one or if it's going to tie into movies, but there's rumors of big characters making their way from other Marvel movies in this.
Well, there's 2 things I wanted to bring up. So the sword, I immediately think it might be Sentient World Observation Response Department.
Yeah.
Which, remember, we were talking about Agents of S.W.O.R.D.
Yeah.
And Nick Fury was on the sword. So maybe something's happening to Wanda where they have to put her under. Now, talking about big characters, I actually did some research. And Agnes could be a character from Marvel called Agatha Harkness, who is actually the world's most powerful witch and was a mentor to Scarlet Witch, but then eventually becomes one of Fantastic Four's most strongest antagonists after Doctor Doom.
Okay, interesting.
So that's why a lot of people online are speculating she's the main villain. I don't think so, because if you look throughout the show, she tries to help Wanda get above these almost like challenges that's put in front of her. Like, get through the dinner party, impress the blonde head of council.
And now I notice that you say that, as she appears every time there's almost these next challenges for Wanda in whatever this reality is.
Exactly.
Because episode 2 starts off where they're laying in bed and they're discussing how to fit in. The next morning they wake up, and I think that's when the neighbor comes over,
in
right?
and tells her, oh, you could join the council. But then she tries to push her away, hey, listen, it's not the biggest thing to be a part of the council. So maybe we'll be introduced to her as a bigger character. This won't be just a one-off for that actress, because she is actor. She is a good actor.
Now, another ongoing Easter egg, I would call it, in this is when they keep saying "for the children." Right?
Oh, see, I never even really.
Well, they said it a few times in episode 2, and
Wanda's
then
children?
I knew that eventually they're going to lead into Wanda's children, right?
Well, she becomes pregnant at the end of
And
episode
at the end of the
2.
episode, now check this out. In one of the comics, oh God, this is so weird and confusing sometimes. All right, so she creates this alternate reality in the House of M because of the suffering of her loss of
her children.
So here's what happens, though, where this story might be leading, though. We know that this whole thing is setting up the multiverse, and we know that we got Doctor Strange coming up, the Multiverse of Madness. We also know that's leading into this Spider-Man 3 stuff with their multiverse as well. Somewhere in this reality, there's a story where Mephisto takes her children, or... Crap, I'm trying to remember the exact details of it. Mephisto takes her children, and then that's when she creates this reality wrapped around it. All right, let me kind of just say where I think this is all heading. What if, again, there's an outside force doing this to Wanda? What if this is not her doing it herself, but she ends up having some episodic, emotional episode because of the loss of Vision?
Mm-hmm.
An outside force, some evil force, takes advantage of this, makes her start doing these terrible things, and in the meantime, she's wrapped up in some alternate reality, and the Avengers or Doctor Strange or someone's going to have to try to help her snap out of it.
Or family member. Now, that goes back to talking about where she was pregnant, because you remember we were discussing before, is she in control or is someone else in control? The episode ends with her walking out of the house with Vision, and a man comes out of the sewer wearing a bee's outfit.
A beekeeper
with
outfit.
With bees around him.
Yeah.
And the symbol from Sword on his back.
Is on his back again.
Now, we don't actually see the face very well, but Wanda immediately recognizes him. This is a woman who throughout 2 episodes couldn't recall how she met Vision, couldn't recall anything. That was played out, but that face she recognized and automatically goes no, and then rewound to the previous scene.
Yeah, stop right there. The part where she says no.
Yeah.
And then it rewinds backwards to the previous scene. For me, it was like whoever was trying to reach her, right? Once they got close enough,
it scares
her. And then that's when she changes up her reality, because then if you notice right after that is when the scene changes and the color change comes in, and then it morphs into. So I think whoever's on the outside, they keep getting close to getting into her mind, reaching her. But then she gets scared and backs off and then changes thing around. And I think that's what's going to happen as these episodes change each time, is that this beekeeper, whoever it is, whatever it is, they keep getting closer to her reality and breaking her out of that.
So maybe they're watching her reality, but they're not in control of it. And what I think may be happening is that she is in a lot more control than the person who's holding her wants her to think. Because remember, like, you know, she has a little bit of powers, but then all of a sudden she was like, no. And she just completely changed around everything. So
she's in more control
than
the person who's, so maybe someone's sedating her.
Or
you know?
Maybe they have got her in their own kind of illusion. But she has stronger ability to overpower the illusion.
Because again, she's one of the strongest mutants ever.
She just maybe doesn't want to.
Now check this out, and then actually it ends though. Oh, actually, before it says Wanda, who's doing this to you? Wanda, who's doing this to you? That's the voice you hear. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to figure out whose voice that is. It doesn't really sound like anyone I can recognize. Now,
I don't think we're supposed to recognize it.
My sister was like, you think it's like an Agent Coulson or something? And I was like, I don't know if they're bringing him back in. And then at first I was like, maybe it's Doctor Strange, and they're just kind of like, the voice is not recognizable because it's, you know, she's not hearing it that way. But once we get to that final episode, like we hear the voice and we hear it's Doctor Strange's voice. I don't know.
What if it's her brother?
Now, I don't know if I should say this one spoiler, but it's not even that much of a spoiler if you read online. I don't know if I want to ruin this for you.
No, I saw it.
Or anyone else.
I saw the list of...
so there are other characters from other previous Marvel films that might be making an appearance in this, and I don't know if it might just be flashbacks, it might be alternate
maybe
timelines.
It's memories kind of intruding, because we forgot to mention the second commercial, which was actually
a huge commercial. Strucker watches.
Who Strucker was the guy who used the
Mind Stone to create Quicksilver
her and her brother. Yeah.
And Scarlet Witch. So yeah, all these, going back to what you said, those are like memories kind of peeking in.
Intruding into reality.
But that was the OMG moment for me where I was like... Me
too.
Ooh.
Because I was like, that's the Hydra symbol. And then I was like, oh, that's Strucker.
And that was my other thing. I was like, at first, before I realized what the other symbols weren't Hydra on the TV monitor, I was like, oh, what the fuck is Hydra up to, these bastards, you know? Because they always got some scheme up their sleeve. But yeah, there's a lot of more questions than answers with the first two episodes. But the path that this is leading on is freaking awesome.
I really love the different... It's different. And that's the only... Because I think one of the biggest criticisms that people have of modern day movies and modern day television shows is it's not different. That's actually one of the biggest criticisms people have against the MCU. It's not different. You're just rehashing the same storylines. It's like, actually, they're not. They're different storylines with rehashing the same characters. And now they've taken only two characters and they've changed the form. They've completely threw out the script for everything that was commonplace before.
Yeah.
And I love it.
And they're doing it well, executing it really well. So, Ben, overall, 2 thumbs way up for WandaVision?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Let's hear that song one more time.
WandaVision!
All right, but with that, let's also just wrap up with this. So, a bunch of the timelines for Phase 4 rollout have been moved, and this is courtesy of Games Radar. I got this timeline. So now we have what the rest of 2021 and then moving out even further is going to look like. We have this up on the YouTube video, so make sure to go check that out. And let me mention one more time, we are doing a giveaway for the Pop Funko of the Super Skrull. All you have to do is subscribe and like and comment on this video. We're going to have more giveaways throughout the months coming up. Remember, we also got a new segment. Ben does a first one. If Obi-Wan Kenobi turned evil, what do you think would happen? He has a great story up there right now on YouTube. YouTube exclusives only. And make sure to turn on that notification bell. We're also out there on all the podcast platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, where else? Pandora, I don't know, all of it. Go check it out. And hit us up on Instagram at Infinite Universe Podcast. We're also out there on Twitter. Hit us up.
I'm on at Pumpkin Claw on Twitter and BH Pumpkin Claw on YouTube.
And I'm at JDaysNYC on pretty much everything. So go check us out, please. All right, that's going to do it for episode 14 of the Infinite Universe Podcast. Remember, although we may be a-holes, we are not 100% dicks. Until next time, I'm J-Days.
I'm Ben.
And we're out of here. Peace.